Hi everyone, today James is going to talk to you about a potential energy crisis to be faced by the UK. So James, Ofgem has come out with a report saying that the lights might come off. Is that true?
Well, I think if we go along our current path, then potentially yes. We're at an interesting place in our sort of energy story, I guess, as a country. So our demand is continuing to increase, not massively, but it is going up steadily. Unfortunately, our supply is going to go through a step change in the very near future, and that is unfortunately stepping down. And therefore, the capacity disappears, then you go and try and boil a kettle, and there ain't no electricity.
So what are sort of things that are underpinning this fall in capacity?
So there's an EU directive that's going to close some of our coal power plants in the very near future, so 2015, and so that is obviously going to decrease the capacity there. And then we have our nuclear power plants, which are approaching the end of their useful lives, sort of at the end of this decade. And so then again we'll see another significant step down in our energy capacity. And the issue is really that there isn't anything in the pipeline to replace it.
So what are some of the solutions? I mean, what can we do today, for example?
Well, I mean, there's a few ways you can work around it. You can, in very basic terms, you can put more capacity in, right? So that is build new power plants, put in more renewable energy, but it has to be done on a substantial scale. The other thing is you can sort of use electricity, use gas more smartly, and so this is the smart grid, which they're sort of talking about at the moment. And just for a homeowner, basically when there's peak demand, this is the kind of thing they're talking about. Peak demand, your fridge would go off for 2 hours in the afternoon, and I mean, if obviously you opened it would fire back up, but your fridge will stay cold. It doesn't make any difference. And so they kind of they start controlling a few of your appliances, and that obviously is issues that some people may have with that. But I think on the whole it's quite a clever way of doing it. Charging people more for electricity at peak times. Electricity is much cheaper, other times, and therefore just by doing that you're sort of smoothing out the peak demand. You're forcing that away. So that's the other way you can do it. And the other way is really energy efficiency. So energy efficiency is essentially people using less energy, and so that will obviously see a drop in demand. So at the moment we have our 6-7% headroom between peak demand and peak supply, and as time goes on, that sort of headroom will diminish based on what I was saying before about the old coal and nuclear power plants. But we could keep building more headroom in there. And that is by everyone becoming more energy efficient.
Okay, so energy efficiency sounds interesting and something that consumers can potentially tap into. But what are sort of the mechanisms out there that homes can go for, that can get help? What are the subsidies?
Yeah. So I mean, the big one at the moment there is the Green Deal, which is the sort of new government initiative to increase the energy efficiency of all the housing stock in the UK. And within that's basically superseded Warm Front and CERT and CESP, which went before it, and so that's kind of the major mechanism at the moment to do that. And there are grants, part of the energy company obligation within that, in some circumstances. But just in terms of a house, the major thing we're trying to do is increase the energy efficiency of the envelope, and so we slow the movement of heat out of the house. So that's our sort of first task. And once you've done that, your heating system doesn't need to work as hard to keep the house warm. So things like loft insulation, solid cavity wall insulation, double glazing, that kind of thing. And then once you've done that, if you have a G-rated boiler that's running at 65% efficiency, and you put in a new condensing combi boiler that's running at 92% efficiency, then each unit of gas is going to be doing more useful work. It's going to be producing more useful heat for the home, and so this will all see drops in your energy bills.
So you think if we all made use of energy efficiency, Do you think we'll be all right in terms of the impeding energy crisis?
I think it absolutely, but it would make, it's not just you or I doing it. It is everyone going for it. It's everyone buying into that, and that's the big challenge, I guess. And that's through the Green Deal they're trying to make this possible, but there are a few teething problems with that. But I think they'll sort it out.
And the government, they've talked about rolling out to business, but it's been sort of a bit slow.
Yeah. It will happen. It will happen. I mean, everything just takes a bit of time, and so hopefully, we'll get that all going.
And if there's one thing that you could recommend to viewers out there as a really simple thing that they can use to reduce their energy demand and help this impeding crisis from happening, what would you recommend?
Okay, so for example, we're in the middle of the summer now, so probably your central heating is not going to be on. But in the winter, if you have a thermostat associated with your heating, if you can sort of turn that down just by a degree, you can save about £60 for an average size house. And so that's just a really easy, nice way to do it. But there are loads of different ways, in which you can come and have a look at the GreenAge and see what we do, and that should hopefully give you a few tips.
Good stuff. So as you heard, they're cutting out demand, and you're also helping out help mitigate this potential crisis. Thanks very much for your time.
No problem.